In today's episode, I talked to my friend Sasha. She is a virtual assistant and coach, and she shares her journey of starting her own business and the lessons that she learned along the way. We talked about the importance of mindset and the combination of head and heart in achieving success. Sasha also talks about the VA way, which focuses on sale growth, mindset, and premium rates from the beginning. She really encourages entrepreneurs to charge what they're worth and build a thriving business that allows them to have more freedom and flexibility from the get go. This was a great conversation. Sasha has a lot to share with you guys, and I hope you enjoy this conversation. Let's dive in. Welcome to the Accidental CEO podcast, where we bridge the gap between the creativity you love and the CEO mindset you need. I'm your host, Nata Salvatori, wedding photographer and business educator. Find full show notes and resources at accidentalceopod.com. Let's get into today's episode. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Accidental CEO podcast. Today I have Sasha Eburn with me. She's all the way on the other side of the world. Very kind of her to join me today. We had to do some schedule adjustments to make sure that we could talk just for you guys. So welcome, Sasha.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, so tell everybody where you are and what do you do and all the good things we're going to talk about today.
Sure. So thank you for the introduction. I am located on the Gold Coast in Australia. So it is 7 a.m. here in the morning. So very much excited to jump on and have a chat to you today. I run a virtual assistant business as well as a virtual assistant coaching business. And pretty much from the success of the VA business, I have turned a lot of my love to coaching and sharing everything that I've learned and my expertise to share them with others so they can too also have the success that I did.
Yeah, it was so fun to read your story and kind of learn a little bit about the background. So I wanted to share with everybody. Tell us a little bit about, there was a pivotal moment that led you to kind of go all in your business, like you said yourself, in just 2 weeks of having your business. So what motivated that move? Tell us a little bit more about how you ended up having your own business.
I'm kind of, in the past, was always that serial entrepreneur and nothing really stuck. And I think it was lots of different factors. And then something completely catastrophic happened in the world and everybody around the world was affected, and it was COVID. And I had come from 25 years of hospitality and events management experience working in hotels, and we were the first hotel to enter the quarantine program. So in Australia, a lot of hospitality workers were all stood down, and I guess the world around came crashing down. It was like, what are we going to do? And I did jump to and from different jobs just to make sure that there was an income throughout that time. And I reconnected with an old acquaintance from the industry, which unfortunately, but fortunately now, that she was made redundant twice in 2 years. So first because the company went through receivership or whatnot, and then secondly because of COVID. And I met with her outside of a cafe when we weren't allowed inside the cafe. We had our takeaway coffees in the park, and she told me about being a virtual assistant, and we'd come from the same industry. And she told me that she was a virtual assistant working 3 days a week and earning more than she had in the hotel industry. And I was just like, I'd always been excited about different prospects of working for yourself. And I've always heard I don't know if you've heard the saying, an entrepreneur in an employee's body. And that's always what I felt like.
Yeah.
I always felt like I was destined for more, or I really didn't like being told what to do 24/7 when, if you're succeeding in your role, why change it and why kind of be pulled up and any number of different things. So I actually watched the space for 6 months. She invited me to a lot of the Facebook groups of common interests, and I just watched it. And then I went and did a short stint in real estate as an executive assistant, and really just found it wasn't for me. I really wasn't enjoying it. I wasn't enjoying the team dynamic. So one week I noticed in the Facebook groups there was about 10 leads that I could apply for. So one night, just after my daughter had gone to bed, I set up my website, set up my business, and within 24 hours I had my first client. So I juggled that first client, 12 hours, and my full-time job, whilst also looking for other clients, and could just see that there were so many people looking for help. And I think it was because I saw where all the leads were that gave me the confidence that, well, I could just get by on 12 hours. However, it's not going to be enough. I'm a single mum, had a mortgage, but it was because I kept on having to, what we say, go on toilet breaks or have lots of breaks to go and talk to potential clients that I knew that if I had if I had all of the time in the world, if I just did this every single day, it would eventually pay off. So whilst it was scary, but also in the back of my mind, I was just like, well, if it just doesn't work, I can just go back to work. But I want this. I wanted it so much. And even since my daughter since she started daycare, the commute to work, the stress to try and get there before they close. I don't know what it's like where you are, but over here, if you're a minute late, it's $20 a minute. That's stress
Yeah.
every day, and I'm just like, this is it for me. So I think it was a knowing that it had to work, and yeah, I just worked every minute of every day, and then was fully booked in 3 weeks.
Where was that first client from? Where did they hear about you? How did you connect?
Facebook groups, Facebook groups, Facebook groups, Facebook groups. Still to this day, 85% of both businesses come from Facebook groups.
That's great. And I want to dive a little bit more into that because I know that's something that you are very passionate about and you talk about it, making sure that people do put the value into Facebook groups. So maybe let's go there since we started the
Sure.
conversation about Facebook groups. So tell us a little bit about your experience with them and why do you think people should incorporate them in their business?
Yeah, Facebook groups are really powerful. I, of course, have my own now, but prior to that, it was just about being involved in others and being involved in the communications, the community. And what I learned early on is it wasn't about selling. It was just about getting involved in the community and giving value. So now I very much talk about give more than you take. So even if there isn't an opportunity to, say, pitch your business, what can you do to add value to somebody that's asking for help? Then you're seen a lot more by people. People start seeing you as the expert. You start getting recommended by people that you've never even had a conversation with just because you show up as an expert, which I think is super powerful. And the fact that that is where society goes to get social proof, even down to household things. So if they're looking for a plumber, if they're looking for a gardener, they go to the Facebook groups in their local community and ask for people to recommend who have they used before, because people want to use other people that other people have used that they like, know, and trust. And then a lot of them now you can promote. And then I've definitely played with the copy that works, that doesn't work, so that you can get traction on the post when you are advertising, so it doesn't feel salesy. So very much all of those things combined, as well as just networking. In the beginning, one thing that really stood out for me was it was just such a welcoming industry, and it was really collaboration over competition. The amount of virtual coffees that I had with other VAs that were more than happy just to jump on a coffee, catch up online, and just tell me a little bit about what they did. And not at once they're like, oh, no, I can't do that because you're a competitor. It never even entered the equation. They were just like, sure, let's have a virtual coffee.
What was the kind of premise of your first Facebook group? Like, what did you kind of built it around? Like, was it a community kind of mindset? Was it more of here is some space for you to learn some strategies? What did you build your Facebook group around?
Yeah, in the beginning, it was probably two-pronged. It was really the community, and then secondly, it was just to share information, share education, share knowledge that I had learned. So I think coming from such a vibrant industry like the hotel industry, and I was in sales before the shutdown, I was always meeting new people. I'd be traveling to Melbourne, going into networking events of thousands of people to then come to the solidarity of your office. And I was just like, I just want to talk to people. I just want to connect and collaborate. And that's essentially what it was. It's just like, how do I foster all of these connections that I've had virtual coffees with and pull them into one space and allow everybody to have that connection as well. So that was probably the first initial thing. And then it was just like, well, I've discovered all these different ways that I can help my business. So why don't I help others do it as well?
So you had about 20 years of experience in the corporate business, that management, hotel arena before launching your own virtual assistant business. What are some of the key lessons that you feel like you were able to bring from that corporate world into your own venture?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think at the beginning, I actually didn't think that I could transfer any of the skills. I was very much like, I'm just going to wing it. I'm just going to do basic admin. And then I realized that I had a little bit more to offer than basic admin. And a lot of it was probably stemmed from my event management career was just being able to manage different projects for clients whilst managing multiple clients. So at one point there, I had about 6 different clients. And of course, each client has their own projects to manage. So, really being able to switch between different businesses. And I'm not the sort of person that wants to do 8 hours on one business. That's to me really boring. It was very much on one day, I would probably be jumping into every single one of my clients' business, as well as lots of different projects within their business as well. So, very much that project management skill set to be able to map that across as well. And I think little bits of marketing in terms of we had a marketing department in the hotel, but a lot of my influence came from, well, this is what we want. So I knew the what, I just didn't know the how. So there was very much the ability to bring the what in. And as I've gone through both businesses, I've been able to learn the how and actually do the marketing for myself as well.
Yeah, I feel like everybody has something that they can bring into their own business when they're coming from different jobs. It's just you might have to take a minute and think about it. But, if you're still working with people, if you're still offering a product or a service, I'm sure there's some skills that you're going to be able to transfer over to your own. So, let's talk a little bit about your coaching. So, your coaching approach really talks about using both the head and heart. So, you talk about that kind of concept. Can you explain a little bit more this philosophy and how it kind of shapes your coaching methods and the advice that you give to your clients?
Yeah, perfect. So, really, in the beginning, when I started, I just started teaching people how I did it. So, I was really teaching the strategies of how I did it. Then I went on a bit of a self development journey and I realized that there's actually so much more to being able to be successful in this space. And it really came down to the mindset. So, I did certified NLP practitioner and master coaching. And what that really instilled in me is you do need to bring your head and the heart together. And what I found was prior, it was because I came from corporate space, it was all about selling. So when you jump on a discovery call or a strategy call with a client, the intent was to sell. And the intent was I need to make this sale. And really, I learned that energetically, then other behaviors start coming in, or you start dropping the rates just to get the client. So it's coming from a real lack mentality. Whereas when it comes from actually, I just genuinely want to help this person, the passion can shine through a little bit more, and the client can see that you actually just want to help them and you have the skills and the resources to do so. And it comes from so much more of an authentic place. Then the lines of communication are a lot different, a lot more open, and the chance of you landing on the rates that you want and desire with the ideal client really seem to match up. But it's really coming from a place of serving rather than selling, because it's about building collaborations, it's about building partnerships. It's not about, I just need to make bank this week. It's really all about helping them, because if we find the ideal clients that we love working with, that we have the common and mutual respect for, then the relationship is going to be ongoing. The working relationship is going to be cohesive. So from a selling point of view, that's really where it is. But it's also in everything that we do in our business and our lives, it should be coming with heart. Everything that we should do, it should be with love and it should be with the highest intentions. So rather than, coming at things with a lack mentality, or, if things go wrong and you have a conflict with different industry people, then really, well, how can I come at this with love rather than, I have to, get up or, actually come over with aggression, anything like that. And more kind of talking to, the downsides of business, when people take clients from you and things like that. So how can you approach that in a very different way and really keep the energy in your business really cohesive and more in congruency with yourself and showing up authentically?
I really love that you kind of incorporated both aspects into just how you serve people and how that helps you connect better with the people that you're working with. So you talked about facing a roadblock along your professional career. Can you talk a little bit more about the nature of the roadblock you encounter and how the techniques that your coach shared with you helped you kind of overcome it?
Yeah, so it's kind of stemming on what we spoke about just there in terms of, with head and heart is what I found before it was kind of opened up into the world of mindset, and really that mindset is the catalyst to getting to where you need to go, was I was quite successful in terms of revenue. However, I really felt that there was a ceiling and I couldn't break through the ceiling. It was consistent high earning months, but it was just like, well, what is it going to take to get me to the next level? And no matter all the different strategies I learned, I still couldn't get there. And what it came down to was mindset. It was a mindset in knowing that there is more out there. It was a self-trust, and it was a self-belief that I could create more. And a lot of the blocks and things that I would tell myself was, oh, who am I to earn any more than that? How else can I earn more money when I don't have more time? Any sort of story or excuse that I was telling myself was the blocks. And once I'd really learned that I just get to write a new story, then everything started to change. And I think it's so powerful. And that's why I really want to help my clients, because a lot of the time they learn the strategy, but they're still telling themselves the same story, or they feel greedy for wanting to charge a premium rate, or they feel like they don't have a place to respond to a Facebook post on an ad because they're like, oh, there's 50 other people there, so why do I deserve to have a spot there? So any number of the things that I went through, I get to support my clients to really push past all those blocks, because that was the big barrier and catalyst for change for me.
Yeah, that is definitely very powerful when it comes to growing your business. We are 100% the main barrier that we encounter as we grow. I feel like just the mindset of like not understanding, not even recognizing some of the self-limiting behaviors that we have and beliefs that we have that keep you from enjoying that money that you are making, and opening yourself to receiving more, and believing that you deserve it. It's definitely a huge mindset shift when it comes to your business and in growing, like allowing yourself to grow. So thank you for sharing that. Yeah, so you talked about the VA way. That's something that you want to teach to people. You want to talk more about the VA way to do things. So let's talk a little bit more about insights that you have that involves this kind of VA way that you talk about, and the benefits of using and looking into this kind of mindset to upscale your business, to grow your business.
Sure. So the VA way really consists of three main pillars, and it's sales, growth, and mindset. And really, with the three combined, we can really build the foundations to what can be a successful but thriving business. So I want to support people to create a business that lasts, not just to get them in money to replace their income, but to really take their business to the next level so that they can actually do whatever they want when they want. There's no point going into business and just replacing your income, because you're still going to be on that vicious hamster wheel of life and not being able to get off. So how can we push past that? And I really focus on premium rates from the word go. Having cheap rates and getting fully booked doesn't serve anyone. It's just counterproductive. And with low paying clients is low paying problems as well. And really, really making sure that we do push past those roadblocks in the beginning, because if we wait until a certain barrier like I did, it can take a lot longer to push past those. I look at the time frame from when I did the training to when the revenue started to double and then triple was quite a number of months, whereas I don't want people to have to wait that long. I want people to implement the techniques now, especially when they're starting in their business, because I went through the journey of this, starting at a low rate and then growing my rate. Whereas I want to work with women to start off on the high rates. And one, they're going to be able to quit their 9-to-5s a lot earlier. They're going to find the right clients. And we talk about actually finding our ideal clients and talking to them quite a lot as well. Really just having that head start. So if you get booked out, great, but get booked out at premium rates. Whereas I got booked out by replacing my income. And then, as you know, as a business owner, there's not just the revenue you make from the business in terms of time. There's all the non-revenue generating tasks that you have to do. So I capped out at 40 hours of client work, but then I still needed to run my business. And, that still takes 5 hours, 10 hours if you're still trying to market your business and grow it. So the more I work with women to push past those money blocks in the beginning, they can tap out of their business at 25 to 30 hours around their family life, but still have a surplus of hours to be able to be the CEO and to run their business. And I think that's really important to get it right from the word go.
Yeah. How much pushback do you get from your clients about charging premium rates from the get-go? Because I can imagine how you get a bunch of resistance from people that are maybe in the beginning of their career that just don't see themselves as worthy of charging that. So let's talk about that a little bit more.
It's probably the most common resistance that I get. However, a lot of them know that by the time they start working with me, because we talk about it in the qualification process. And a lot of them are just like, I can't afford this, or I'm earning 120K. I don't believe that I can replace the income in this space. Because I guess on a bigger scope, a lot of people do see a virtual assistant as a side hustle. So it's really trying to, change that mentality to be like, no, it is actually a fully flourishing, business that can, extend the, the breadth of time, so to speak. The fact that I have the resources to help them push past those money blocks, I think, is where we get the most results. Whereas if I hadn't done my NLP coaching and I hadn't really pushed past those beliefs first and learnt the modalities to help people, we'd still be sitting here talking about the money. But the fact that we can actually dive deeper, we can work out, well, where are those money stories coming from to get them to believe in themselves, to get them to know that they are good enough, that we do get the results quite early on. I mean, the last girl that joined the program, the last woman, I should say, joined the program, within 3 weeks, she'd secured the next client. She'd already increased her hourly rate by $40 an hour. So because we can dig deeper, we do get the results a lot earlier on. But you're quite right. It is the most resistant change that they do have to make.
Today's episode is sponsored by Accidental CEO. Hello there, my CEOs. I'm Nata Salvatori, founder of Accidental CEO, an education and coaching platform where we believe every surprise in your career is a step towards greatness. Whether you found yourself unexpectedly in charge or you're actively seeking to climb the leadership ladder, we are here to guide you. I specialize in transforming emergent leaders like you into confident CEOs through target education and personalized coaching. With Accidental CEO, you gain access to exclusive workshops, one-on-one coaching, and a suite of online courses designed to hone your skills, refine your strategies, and amplify your business powers. My approach is tailored to fit your unique journey. I understand the twists and turns of becoming a CEO, especially when it's unexpected. That's why my programs are flexible, comprehensive, and driven by real-world success experiences. Don't just take the lead, master it. Our supportive community is here to ensure you emerge as a visionary leader, equipped to navigate any challenges and seize all opportunities. Visit us today at accidentalceo.co to learn more about how we can help transform your accidental position into a deliberate and successful leadership legacy. Accidental CEO, where you learn to lead not by chance, but by choice. So let's talk about your NLP certification. I know you're very proud of that. Can you share a little bit more? So tell people that don't know what that is, first of all, NLP certification and the training, and then how do you feel like that really enhances your coaching abilities?
Sure. So for those that don't know, NLP is Neuro Linguistics Programming. So it essentially supports you by rewriting your unconscious. So all of the stories and all of this, the things that we tell ourselves, even a lot of generational trauma as well, or generational stories that, have been coming down from our grandparents, our parents, money doesn't grow on trees, or you have to work 24/7 to be successful, many different stories that do come up. And whilst, the money stories is the tip of the iceberg, what essentially NLP showed me was that there is a different way. There is a different way that we can live our lives. There is a different way that we can think, then we can tell ourselves, the way that we show up for ourselves, the way that we show up for our families. it really just highlights that you can just write a new narrative and you can write a new story. And it really was the thing that changed everything for me. Like I said, I couldn't push past the barrier. No matter how many strategies I learned, the only thing that was stopping me from getting through that barrier was myself. And once I did the work and pushed past all of those different blocks and barriers and learned more about myself and how I could just show up authentically as me, whereas before I was just like, well, who am I? Who am I to show up like this and to be the authority and to know that actually I do have the information and I do have it. And I think that that's really what the difference is, because I could teach strategy until the cows come home. But unless people change or want to change and then take the strategy with the change, they're not going to get the results. They're going to finish the program. They're going to go back to their 9 to 5. They're going to still be sitting there thinking it's amazing to get a client at a low rate when, any clients that we get is a win. I get it. However, like I said in the beginning, small paying clients are small paying problems, and it doesn't build the long-standing thriving business. So I really encourage my clients to what's the picture of what your life wants to be like? Who is the person that you want to be? Who is the person that you're willing to wake up and be to get to that destination? So wherever that destination is, you need to wake up every single day and be that person. You can't wake up every single day and say the clients aren't coming in unless you're actually willing to take the action, make the change, and do the work. And I think that's where the change happens. And if people don't change, they're not going to be successful in terms of getting to where they want to. They're just going to probably get here, and that's probably going to be okay because that's where they've always sat. And then as time will go on, they'll be like, well, why am I still sitting here 10 years later? Because you haven't decided to make the change. So using the techniques that I've uncovered in our NLP, it supports people making the change quite early on to support them to grow a lot further.
Yeah, I definitely love all those concepts and believe that just teaching strategies, business strategies on their own, we're not doing anybody, a good service. We're making them a disservice by not teaching them the whole complete picture of mindset in combination with business strategies. So I love that you do that too. So continuous learning is very important to you. You talk about how you make sure that you're always trying to learn to improve yourself. How do you stay up to date with just the latest trends and, how you develop in your field in general?
I constantly learn. So I love audiobooks. It's a really quick way to digest information. So I'm always reading entrepreneur books, mind hacks, time management tools, as well as podcasts. I also have a coach. Coaches still need coaches too. So I'm in a high level coaching container, so I can adopt the higher level strategy to then match with the mindset that I've got, because any level that we do in business, there's always a new level that we're trying to get to. So whilst I'd mastered that in the past, where we are now, we're in the really big scale phase of the business as well. So I'm really learning and dabbling in a lot of higher level marketing strategies. And then, once I also master those and learn those, then I can teach those as well. So it doesn't necessarily always reflect on my business. The more I upskill, the more I can also offer in my coaching as well. So anything down to podcasts, books, coaching, and webinars. Anytime that there's a webinar that a really great coach is offering, I'm always there front and center and learning what they have to say as well, because I think having a variety of learning as well, because even when you're working with a coach, you're not always going to take everything that they give you because it might not be apparent for your business right now. So really trying to tap into lots of different resources as they go.
Do you have a go-to book that you like to refer to the audience?
The last one that I read was Buy Back Your Time. I think it was what it was called, from Dan Martell. That was amazing. And it was really all about how to be effective with your time and still scale at the same time. And I think that's in the past something that I really struggled with. Being a single mom and running a business, I've always been thinking that I had the block there of time. So really, how can I actually manage the time that I have in the day? Because it's the same amount of time that everybody else has, and make sure I'm using it wisely and effectively as well.
Very good. Yeah, that's definitely a skill that we can all improve upon for sure. So you describe yourself as a badass, no-nonsense VA coach. Can you share maybe a story where this kind of attitude and mindset really impacted one of your clients' projects or success stories?
Yeah, so I think it's really about not sugarcoating it. And really, in business, it's about being honest and transparent. So in my containers, we talk very openly about money, and I think it's really important. And there's no point saying, oh, I got a client at this rate. Well, what rate was it? Because we really need to dive deeper in to be able to be increasing the rates. And I think even just being direct and sharing what has gone wrong in my business has really stood out for my clients, because then they can learn from the mistakes that I've made. They're paying for an expert. So why would I sugarcoat all the good and the bad and the ugly that happens in business? Because if they can learn from something that happened in my business and learn how to handle that in a really great way, if it happens to them, they're just so better equipped to handle different situations. So I think it wasn't intentional. However, I've always been quite a direct person in terms of an open book. I talk quite openly about a lot of different things. And I think that the results that I tend to get from my clients are when they give me feedback and they were saying that they were about to make a decision and all they did was hear my voice in their head saying, just do it. Just done is better than perfect. Otherwise you're going to sit here and procrastinate on it. And really it is just about getting it done and taking action. And I think that's really the standout, is when they tell me that even when I'm not there coaching them, that I'm still in their head coaching them so that they take the action.
It's a good coach right there. They remember the things that you teach them. If somebody is just maybe starting out, looking to take their VA business to the next level, what are your main piece of advice for those people, kind of drawing from your own experience?
Definitely jump into the Facebook groups, which is what I did in the beginning. Have a look at what people are asking for. Instead of thinking, oh, I don't have the skills, I don't think I could do it, just jump in and get involved in conversations. You could definitely jump over to my website. I have a list of 101 things that you could outsource as a VA. So that's where a lot of people start, because it's more of a, do I have anything to offer? So once you work out that there's a plethora of things that you can offer and you can map across all of those things, once you've worked out you've got something to offer, then you take the next step. So definitely jumping into the Facebook groups, having a look at what people are asking for, having a looking at what people are offering, just get involved in conversations, even in person. Just go along to business events, go along to meet other CEOs, entrepreneurs, and just make connections. Just talk to people. And I think that's really all it is just get involved in the online space, even talk to other, website designers, digital marketers, just talk to them about business and really just get a feel for what the online space can offer.
So as a VA, you're someone who helps other people with their businesses. How do you make sure that you don't forget about your own business and that you set time aside for yourself? Because I feel like that's probably a common trap that VAs can fall into and kind of forget to work on their own business because they're just so busy working on everybody else's business. So let's talk about that a little bit.
So the key is team, because we can't do it alone, and we only have so many hours during the day, and I probably have less being a mum as well. You've got to go do the pick up and the drop off. And the virtual assistant business now, because of the foundations that I put in place and because of the team that I have put in place, it runs itself. We really don't need to do much in terms of that business. A lot of my love and time goes into the coaching business, and it's got so much more room to grow. So when I do work in the business, I mainly handle the marketing and the sales, and I do have a business manager that supports with a lot of the back end. So a lot of the customer service, a lot of the financials, a lot of the payment plans for the coaching programs. So support is the only way that I would be able to get this done, especially running both businesses, and finding time for everything is having to have people to support you.
So if somebody that is starting right now, let's say they're in the beginning of their career as a VA, and maybe they still are not making as much as they could to be outsourcing some of their own business to somebody else, what do you recommend they can do to kind of manage not forgetting to work on their own business?
So time blocking is a really big one, is making sure that you do allocate the time to do it. And that's where we talk about the premium rates as well, because everything will come easier once you're working in the premium rates. And though you may not be in a position to outsource things in your business, however, I also like to talk to because a lot of my clients are women, they're mums, is what could you just ask for more support in your personal life? What could you outsource that might be at a lower cost? Could you pay $100 a week for a cleaner? And then that's one task that you don't have to spend 2 to 3 hours doing that then, you could actually spend in your business. So I think a lot of people might miss that step. And especially if you are a mum, could you ask for some help from family? Could you send out your laundry, every now and then, just to kind of really free up your time so that you could spend a little bit more time in your business? Because the more time we spend in our business on lead generation, on marketing, to talking to people, then that's where the revenue is going to come in. So in the beginning, I always talk about, well, focus on the revenue generating tasks as well. Because if you spend all the time doing things that are not going to bring you money, and I'll use Instagram as an example. I didn't have Instagram for the first 6 months of my business, and I still managed to grow to a team of 15 in 6 months without Instagram. So a lot of what I teach is actually not to do Instagram, or not to spend a lot of time on social media endlessly posting, because in the beginning, let's be honest, we don't know the strategy, we don't know the algorithm. So even if you post once a week to make sure that you have a bit of a presence and a shop front, then that is actually going to serve you more, because you can spend more time having direct conversations with clients that can turn into revenue. And I am a big believer in website over Instagram every single day, because it is a worldly shop front, and not every one of your clients is going to be on Instagram either.
It's a borrow real estate, right? At any point, it can be gone. And if you don't have your own website, you don't have a presence and a place for people to go see you. Yeah. You talk a lot about premium rates. What does that mean in the VA world?
So at the moment, I can only talk to rates in Australia, because I know that the exchange rate differs over there. However, I do have some family that run online businesses over there. But in terms of here in Australia at the moment, a lot of people are starting off at about $40 an hour, which I think in the US would be about 25 to 30, whereas that is kind of equivalent to an employee here. Although with an employee, you get a few extra benefits, whereas here as a business owner, you have to pay your own super, you have to pay insurances, you pay tax and tech and all of that. So once you dilute the rate, you're actually earning less than what an employee would be. So that's the first thing in terms of running a business, is you're actually working to live rather than the other way around. So I very much talk about doubling it and really positioning yourself in the top tier of the market. So at the moment, it varies depending upon the skill sets that you have, but for EA, PA type of administration, $85 per hour. And then, for the top end, landing pages, funnels, tech, $100 plus as an example. In terms of the US, some family that I have over there have run remote businesses, and they sort of tailor themselves about $100 per hour comparatively as well. However, what I find that helps with converting the higher premium rates, let's say, is actually quoting weekly. So the ideal goal for virtual assistants is to have ongoing clients or retainers. And for a business owner, they don't run their business in hourly rates. They run their business in whole figures. And a lot of times, if you give somebody an hourly rate, they will compare it to an hourly employee. It's just the way that the mind goes. Whereas just say that you're looking to charge $95 an hour, and you've agreed that the work that's going to be done is in 5 hours for the week, so it's a 5-hour a week retainer, then we would very much tell the business owner that the investment would be $475 per week. And it would land a lot better. They know how much they have for expenses. They know where their outgoings are, and it would just land a lot better. And also to know the tasks that they're doing and the whole figure, it just lands so much better. So there's a lot of different techniques that I support the clients with to ensure that it lands, as well as the self-belief in offering those rates. But really, there is a market for that. And once I got to a certain level of rate in my business, that was probably the lowest. The absolute minimum that we would do any work for was $85 an hour. And then that now is the catalyst with my clients, because they're like, I could not even imagine. I said, well, every single one of our clients, the minimum is $85. So there are plenty of clients out there that will understand and respect and value the skills that you're offering. So it is a perception thing as well. But yeah, really talking about that that high-end dollar figure as well.
Very nice. Yeah, I like that tip. Very applicable to really any area, and how you present the pricing of your services and your products makes a huge difference too. So this is something I've been asking most of our guests on the show. Going from an accidental CEO to a purposeful business owner that is successful includes going through failures and learning lessons. What was maybe one big failure that you had to go through in your journey that became a big lesson learned for you?
Probably hiring too quickly. That was a big lesson to learn, that people aren't always as they seem on paper. And a lot of times with any kind of relationship with anybody, you have to peel back the layers to really get to know somebody at their core. And in the past, I made the mistake. I used to get the client and then be like, crap, I need a VA to look after this client. So that didn't work. Even though how many times I tried it, it still didn't work. And I guess a twofold to that was also getting, letting go of somebody. If it doesn't feel right, get rid of them really quickly, because otherwise that can also unravel. So then that was a really hard lesson to learn. A lot of mistakes were made. So then it was very much a slower recruitment process, right culture, right fit, right skill set, right personality in terms of, bouncing ideas off, what their dreams and desires are. Like, are they just coming in for a short term, or do they actually want to come along with the vision and the journey of the business? Really important. And then now, if it's time for somebody to go, it's time for somebody to go right now, because it will only damage your business and your brand even more. So yeah, big lessons learned there.
Well, tell everybody where they can find you if they want to maybe use your services or get some coaching from you. So just share a little bit of where to find you.
Great, thank you. I spend pretty much most of my day on Instagram, which is just Sasha Eburn __. Feel free to drop in and have a DM and we can have a chat.
Perfect. And we'll make sure that we link everything for you guys as well, so you can easily find them, Sasha and her team, and work with them if you need their services. Thank you so much for spending your time with me early in the morning, starting your day. I appreciate it. You gave our audience a lot of great tips and some great insights for them to grow their business. So we appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Perfect. Thank you, everybody, for listening to us. And we hope to see you next week with another episode of the Accidental CEO podcast. Bye. And that's a wrap for today's episode of the Accidental CEO podcast. Thanks for hanging out with us in the world where creativity and business strategy collide. I am Nata Salvatori, thrilled to have shared this time with you. Remember, every episode is a step closer to mastering the art of being an accidental CEO. So don't miss out. Hit subscribe, drop us a sweet review, and spread the word to your creative tribe. Your next big breakthrough could be just one episode away. Join us next time for more insights, laughs, and actionable tips. Keep pushing boundaries, dreaming big, and embracing the beautiful chaos of entrepreneurship. Here's to make magic happen in your business and beyond.